All right, I'll call the meeting to order. It is 8:36 on Wednesday, May 18th. This is a meeting of the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission. Let's start by taking roll and leave Victor to the end. We'll let Victor introduce himself kind of at the end. And
Great.
a new member.
And I would like to start by reading the meeting notice because we always skip that step, if that's okay. This meeting's date, time, and location have been noticed on the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission website, included as part of this year's meeting calendar since July 13, 2015. Additionally, the agenda for this month's meeting has been posted on the Tennessee Motor Vehicle Commission website since May the 12th, 2016. This meeting has also been noticed on the tn.gov website. Reed Trickett will be acting chair today in the absence of Eddie Roberts. I will call the roll. Eddie Roberts. Stan McNabb. Here. Jim Galvin.
Here.
Joe Clayton. Ronnie Fox.
Here.
Donnie Hatcher.
Here.
Nate Jackson.
Here.
John Murray.
Here.
Reed Trickett.
Here.
Stan Norton.
Here.
Don Parr. Farrah Vaughn. Here. Lynn Webb. Steve Tomaso.
Here.
Ian Levy.
Here.
Karin White. And Victor Evans, which is our newest member.
Victor, tell us a little something about yourself. Welcome.
Thank you. Glad to be here. Was appointed by the governor to serve on the commission December last year. My day job is with Students First Tennessee. We're an education policy organization, so I spend a lot more time up there between January and April working on K-12 ed reform policies. I'm very excited to be here and happy to work with all of you.
What part of the state do you live in?
I live in Nashville.
Live in here? Okay, good.
Yes.
Well, welcome, man. I'm glad to have you.
Thank you.
All right. I need to adopt the agenda for the meeting.
Commissioner Jackson, motion that we adopt the agenda for the meeting.
Second?
Second.
Do we need a roll call vote for that? Do we need a roll call vote for that? All in favor, say aye.
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 All right. Now, we've got 3 suspension/hearings on the agenda. All 3 of those have been, what's the status of those at this point?
We do have 3 suspension type. We have one that was a follow-up to a summary suspension that occurred late last year. And then we have a couple of other hearings that were set for formal hearing, and I will let the legal division, or turn it over to the legal division at this time to present the updates on those cases.
On Knoxville Direct Auto, this is a case that's set for summary suspension today. Knoxville Direct Auto voluntarily agreed to voluntary revocation of their dealer license and has gone out of business, so there's no longer an immediate threat. And having given up their license now, they're out of business. So there's no need to go forward with that summary suspension. On AAA Auto and Luxury Imports of Nashville, I'm going to let Robin Ryan come up and talk to you about the settlements that she has on those cases that we want to propose and have signed today.
Morning. I know you're glad you're not having hearings today.
Yes, we are.
But it wasn't without a lot of work that we resolved both these cases. We have 2 this morning, AAA, and the other one is Luxury Motor. Luxury Motor was here, I'll start with that one, on the summer suspension last fall. I don't know if all of you remember, but you were here on that matter. And in attempts to resolve the situation, I had many meetings with Ms. Shaw, who was very helpful in getting terms of that would be acceptable, we believe, to you all. And I do have a copy of the order. Would you like to read the order before I talk a bit more about it, or are you all right? Okay. In this particular case, this was a summer suspension matter, and in resolution of this matter, he has agreed to voluntarily revoke both his personal salesperson license and luxury motor license. And if luxury motor, there are conditions. If luxury motor dealer were going to attempt to come back and get another dealer's license, they would have to show to you that all restitution had been made if there were any issues of restitution. And since it was a title issue more than anything else, that the title issues had been resolved. As far as his personal license, if he chooses to become a salesperson with another dealer, part of the provision is that he would come before this board before he got to that point. It was hard work. There was an attorney in on the other side, and I do believe, and I propose to you that this is a very good resolution to this situation, and I ask that if you approve that resolution. And if so, then I've got a final order to be signed by you, Mr. Trickett, and then I will enter that agreed order, and the case will be dismissed. Anybody have questions about that one?
I have a question. He was assessed a fine. Is that
No,
fine?
he was not assessed a
Not
fine.
assessed?
No, we weren't asking for that. We were asking for his license.
Okay.
And he did a voluntary revocation of it, so. And he is out of business, totally.
Do we know if there are any open restitution claims?
I don't believe there are. There was one lawsuit that was filed, and a criminal charge that was filed that was dismissed, and the lawsuit was voluntarily dismissed. So that suggests to me that there wasn't enough there for anything.
I'd like to make a motion that we accept the plea.
Second.
Vote for that?
Eddie Roberts. Stan McNabb. Jim Galvin.
Yes.
Joe Clayton. Ronnie Fox.
Yes.
Donnie Hatcher.
Yes.
Nate Jackson.
Yes.
John Murray.
Yes.
Reed Trickett.
Yes.
Stan Norton.
Yes.
Farrah Vaughn.
Yes.
Steve Tomaso.
Yes.
Ian Levy.
Yes.
Victor Evans.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, Mr. Trickett. If I might have you sign this, I would appreciate it. Second matter was AAA auto sales, a bit more complex. The issues in this particular matter was the dealer had many salespersons, and these salespersons were purchasing cars. The cars were then brought back to the lot, but the proceeds, except for some money, was going to the salesperson. And the question was whether that was sufficient oversight of employees, because our laws are not as black and white on some of these issues, but there was an issue of failure to supervise employees. That case took a bit longer to negotiate. I had a great help from Tony Glandover, who's not here, as well as Ms. Shaw, in negotiating terms in that matter. And he has also agreed to, in this case, to do a voluntary surrender of the dealer's license. He's a bit older. He's not going to be working in Tennessee at all anymore. The problem we had is that we had some cars remaining on the lot, and we didn't want to leave anybody out there or leave the issues of the titles out there. So what was negotiated was a 90-day period within which for him to resolve all the issues, present to us an accounting for all the cars that remain, if any, and what happened to them and their titles. The lot itself was hopefully going to be leased to a new dealer if they get a license. And the cars themselves are being sold, the ones that he can sell, to a new dealer if he gets a license. He is not going to be, again, he's in his 80s, he's not going to be reapplying for a license here. He will also be paying a civil penalty of $5,000, half of which has already been paid, and he has a time period to pay the other half. And if he does not pay it within that time period, or if he fails any of the rules here, his license, the dealer's license, will be automatically revoked. Now, why that's important is that, as you know, there are some dealers in the edge of states, and some states that don't have the same laws as we do. But if you have a revoked license in a parallel state, your ability to get a license in another state might be impacted. I'm not saying he's going to be getting a license in another state. I'm just saying that would impact his ability to do so. And therefore, I'm asking you to accept these terms as well. Anybody have questions?
He's being allowed to keep his license for the 90 days to wind things down.
Wind things down.
What happens to the dealers?
It is the dealer license.
I'm sorry, the salespersons that were working on this lot.
Well, the salesperson license, of course, would no longer be valid. They would be gone. But I don't believe there are any people there working at anyway, because this has been, as I said, this case has been going on for a while, trying to resolve all these particular issues, so everybody has been notified, as far as I understand from his attorney.
Questions? Can entertain a motion?
Commissioner Jackson, motion to adopt the recommendation of the staff.
Second.
On
Jackson
AAA
makes the
auto
motion.
sales.
Who was the second, I'm sorry?
Galvin seconds. Roll call vote?
Commissioner McNabb?
Yes.
Commissioner Galvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Norton?
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn?
Yes.
Commissioner Tomaso?
Yes.
Commissioner Levy?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. I will bring this order up as well, and I promise you, next time I won't let you off so easy. Thank you very much.
We're afraid of that. Sorry.
Ms. Ryan, thank you and your staff for taking care of these.
Well, they did a great job.
We're very grateful up here.
Okay, well, you're quite welcome.
Very grateful.
I actually have one other case. It's not on the agenda, but we wanted to put it on for representation. This is for Ramil Elmeev, an unlicensed individual out of East Tennessee, who we levied a hefty civil penalty against for unlicensed sales. Sarah's been working on this case, so to avoid having one of these hearings, she's reached a settlement that she is going to discuss with you briefly.
Good morning, members of the commission. Thank you for allowing me to appear before you a second time. I did have the summary suspension, but I'm glad we were able to settle that out, so I thought I'd bring you something easier. This is Ramil Elmeev. This case came to us in 2013. Mr. Ramil Elmeev was selling vehicles out of his apartment complex. He rebuilt them and then would sell them. It came to us through a consumer complaint, but the consumer wasn't injured. Rather, they couldn't register the vehicle because the consumer forged a gift form. So that's how we found out about Mr. Ramiev. But a thorough investigation in 2014 revealed that Mr. Ramiev over a year sold, we thought, 49 vehicles total. And as a result of that, it was presented to this commission for a $20,500 civil penalty. In that time, after reviewing all of the titles, it looks like our number of actual titles ended up reducing quite a bit. We're probably looking closer to 40 that I could prove at trial. As a result, Mr. Elmeev got an attorney, and we've been in constant negotiations between ourselves and also working closely with Matt and Paula, which I greatly appreciate. As a result, the attorney has proposed, and we are under the impression that this would be a fair offer of a civil penalty at this point of $10,250. This represents a little under $225, I believe. I'm sorry, I'm not very good at math, but yeah, $244 a car with some change per of the, if we were to say 42 vehicles, which is probably the most I could prove at this point. Mr. Elmeev has never owned a dealership. He's never been licensed, but when he did receive the consent order from this commission, he did cease activity. The vehicles that he had, for lack of better words, in his inventory have not moved since he received notification from this commission that his acts were in violation of the law. And because of that, that is one of the considerations we took in negotiating with Mr. Elmeev and his attorney. So I wanted to offer that representment to you to see if you are comfortable with that civil penalty reduction, and if so, he's already preemptively signed a consent order to close this matter.
So we have nothing to vote on here. We're just giving you approval that a job well done.
Well, functionally, it would be a representment. It would be to basically to vote to approve a reduced civil penalty to $10,250 from the $20,500 it was originally.
Commissioner Jackson, motion that we adopt the civil penalty of $10,250.
Second. Commissioner Vaughn, thank you. Let's look over there. All vote.
Commissioner McNabb?
Yes.
Commissioner Galvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett,
Yes.
Commissioner Norton,
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn,
Yes.
Commissioner Tomaso,
Yes.
Commissioner Levy,
Yes.
Commissioner Evans.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you, members.
All right, Mr. Reddish, are you going to take the next two here?
Yes, I'll actually be able to do them both at once. This is on the surety bond rule that we discussed last month. For those who weren't here, basically we were just deleting a couple of words off a current rule. As the rule is currently written, it requires the Motor Vehicle Commission to be named as the beneficiary on the surety bond, and so we're removing that in order to go to a fully electronic system. It should be much easier on licensees in the state, easier on administration, and this rule should reduce a lot of needless litigation that occurs. If there are no questions, I have a regulatory flexibility addendum and an economic impact statement I need to read, and then we'll need to have a motion for the commission to adopt those in a roll call vote. Want to let anybody ask any questions if they had any lingering from the last meeting before.
This was the issue that during the litigation, they actually had to name the commission to be able to recover on the bond, and this is just eliminating that step.
That's correct. The Attorney General is having to appear on behalf of the commission to tell the courts to disperse these funds. And so by removing us as the named beneficiary, it should allow consumers to go straight to the surety bond company and take that unnecessary step out of the process for them. Regulatory flexibility addendum. Pursuant to TCA Section 4-5-401 through 4-5-404, prior to initiating the rulemaking process as described in TCA Section 4-5-202A3 and TCA 4-5-202A, all agencies shall conduct a review of whether proposed rule or rules affects small businesses. Statements. The type or types of small businesses and identification and estimate of the number of small businesses subject to the proposed rule that would bear the cost of or directly benefit from the proposed rule. There are approximately 3,700 licensed motor vehicle dealers in Tennessee that will be substantially impacted by this rule. There will be nominal costs for these dealers, and the dealers as a whole should benefit due to a reduction in needless litigation as currently required for an injured consumer to collect from the dealer surety bond. Question 2. The projected reporting, record keeping, and other administrative costs required for compliance with the proposed rule, including the type of professional skill necessary for preparation of the record or of the report or record. This rule may result in additional administrative costs due to a potential need to update current surety bonds. A statement of the probable effect on impacted small businesses and consumers. This rule is expected to have a positive impact on small businesses by reducing lawsuits filed and attempts to collect on dealer surety bond. Question 4, a description of any less burdensome, less intrusive, or less costly alternative method of achieving the purpose and objectives of the proposed rule that may exist, and to what extent the alternative means might be less burdensome to small businesses. Answer, the Commission believes that this change is not burdensome, intrusive, or costly, and, as such, there do not appear to be any alternatives that would reasonably be expected to be less burdensome. Question 5, a comparison of the proposed rule with any federal or state counterparts. Answer, there is no known state or federal counterpart. Question 6, analysis of the effect of the possible exemption of small businesses from all or any part of the requirements contained in the proposed rule. Answer, exemption from these rules would not be expected to be beneficial for small businesses as existing standards are less clear. Impact on small government or impact on local government. Pursuant to TCA Section 4-5-220 and 4-5228, any rule proposed to be promulgated shall state in simple declarative sentence without additional comments on the merits of the policy of the rule or regulation, whether the rule or regulation may have a projected impact on local governments. See Public Chapter number 1070 of the 2010 session of the General Assembly. Answer, this rule has no projected impact on local governments.
Questions? Anybody got something to direct to Mr. Reddish?
One question, there's nothing that dealer needs to do right now to be in compliance with the surety bond, right?
I believe it'd be upon renewal of their license, we would have the new form ready for them. And even until the governor signs off on this rule and it gets posted through the Secretary of State and everything like that, until that time, no, this rule won't go into effect, and we can't even use our new surety bond until this rule goes into effect. So we'll be able to give ample notice to our licensees of these changes coming. And the current surety bond will be sufficient. I think we would just roll this out at time of renewal.
Motion to adopt the addendum?
Make a motion that we adopt the addendum on the surety bond rule.
Commissioner Jackson, seconded.
On Commissioner Jackson. Roll call vote?
Commissioner McNabb?
Yes.
Commissioner Galvin?
Yes.
Commissioner Fox?
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher?
Yes.
Commissioner Jackson?
Yes.
Commissioner Murray?
Yes.
Commissioner Trickett?
Yes.
Commissioner Norton?
Yes.
Commissioner Vaughn?
Yes.
Commissioner Tomaso?
Yes.
Commissioner Levy?
Yes.
Commissioner Evans?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, I see nothing else on the agenda. What else is there? Any old business, any new business, anything?
That concludes our agenda for the day. So,
Wow,
yeah.
I can't wait to text Eddie how long this took.
You should tell him we've been here all day.
Paul was
So
over
they
there
just had the
spending
wrong
the
guy
night.
running this the whole time. All right, I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Commissioner Jackson, Commissioner Galvin. We are adjourned.
Yay. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Good job.
Let's see what that was.